Marvin feels a heavy weight. It sits on his shoulders every single day. This weight is responsibility. It is the sum of many tasks, many duties, many worries. He carries it alone. There is no one beside him to share the load. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones. Each stone is a problem to solve, a bill to pay, a person to care for. Marvin's backpack is overflowing. He walks with his head down, struggling under the burden. This is not how people are meant to live. We are built for connection, for support. His world is crowded, yet Marvin stands alone in this crowd. He sees people laughing, talking, helping each other. He wonders why his experience is so different. Is he invisible? Does no one see him struggling? The truth is, many are like Marvin. They are pillars holding up their small worlds. They do it silently, without complaint. But silence does not mean absence of pain. It often means the pain is too deep, too constant to voice. Marvin is strong, but even the strongest pillar can crack under too much pressure. The tasks never seem to end for Marvin. From the moment he wakes up, the demands begin. He must prepare for his day. He must ensure others are cared for. He must go to work, a place that brings its own set of pressures. His work is important. It helps many people, but its importance is often overlooked. It is quiet work, done in the background. Like the foundations of a house, it is crucial but unseen. And like a foundation, if it crumbles, everything built upon it will fall. Marvin understands this. The thought adds to his heavy load. This constant pressure, this lack of support changes a person. It chips away at their spirit. It drains their energy. Marvin used to smile more. He used to have dreams, hobbies. Now his main focus is to get through the day, then the next, and the next. This is not living, this is surviving. And survival mode sustained for too long is damaging. It affects health, it affects relationships, it affects the very essence of who we are. Marvin's story is a call to look around us, to see the Marvins in our own lives. The alarm clock rings. It is too early. Marvin's body aches before he even moves. Sleep was not restful. It was filled with thoughts of unfinished tasks and upcoming challenges. He forces himself out of bed. There is no time for a slow start. The day's demands are already queuing up. He thinks about his family members who depend on him. He thinks about his colleagues who expect him to perform. These thoughts are like small engines, pushing him forward, even when his own fuel is low. He moves through his morning routine like a machine, efficient but joyless. His first set of responsibilities begins at home. Perhaps it is caring for an elderly parent, or getting children ready for school. Each task requires patience and energy he barely has. He makes breakfast, he checks medication, he listens to worries, offers comfort. He does all this before his own workday has even started. There is no one to make him a cup of coffee. There is no one to ask how he is feeling. He is the caregiver, the provider, the planner. He is the rock for others. But who is the rock for Marvin? This question hangs in the air, unanswered. Then comes the commute. It is another source of stress. Traffic jams, crowded trains, more time spent in transit, less time for rest or preparation. He arrives at work already feeling drained. His job is crucial. He works diligently, focusing on every detail. He knows that mistakes can have serious consequences, so he pours all his remaining energy into his tasks. He solves problems. He meets deadlines. He supports his team, even when he feels unsupported himself. He is a good employee. He is reliable. But this reliability comes at a great personal cost. At his desk, the challenges continue. He might face a sudden crisis. A system might fail. A colleague might need urgent help. Marvin steps up. He always does. He navigates these situations with a calm he doesn't feel inside. He is the go-to person, the one who can fix things. This is a role he has fallen into, partly due to his competence, partly due to necessity. But being the constant troubleshooter means his own planned work gets pushed aside. It means longer hours. It means more stress. His own needs are always last on the list. The workday is supposed to end, but for Marvin, the lines are blurred. His crucial work often demands extra hours. He stays late to catch up on tasks interrupted by earlier crises, or he takes his work home. There is no clear boundary between work life and personal life. His mind is always on, always thinking about what needs to be done next. This constant mental load is exhausting. It is like trying to run a marathon every single day with no finish line in sight. He eats a quick dinner, often alone, while still thinking about work or other duties. After work, other responsibilities await. Household chores, bills to pay, planning for the next day. If he has children, there is homework to help with, stories to read. If he cares for an elder, there are evening routines to manage. These are all acts of love, acts of duty, but they add to the unending list. Marvin moves from one task to the next, a relentless cycle. He rarely has a moment for himself, a moment to simply sit, a moment to breathe, a moment to pursue a hobby or connect with a friend. His personal well-being is sacrificed for the well-being of others and the demands of his job. Sleep offers little escape. Even when his body is still, his mind races. He replays the day's events. He worries about tomorrow's challenges. Did he forget something important? Will he have the strength to face another day just like this one? This anxiety makes deep, restorative sleep difficult. He often wakes up feeling just as tired as when he went to bed. This chronic sleep deprivation affects his mood, his concentration, his physical health. It is a dangerous cycle. Lack of sleep makes him less resilient to stress, and stress makes it harder to sleep. The concept of a weekend, a time for rest and rejuvenation, feels like a distant dream for Marvin. Saturdays and Sundays are often filled with catching up on chores, catching up on errands, sometimes catching up on work. There is no real break. The candle of his energy is not just burning at both ends. It feels like it is burning in the middle too, consuming him from all sides. This is unsustainable. Humans need rest. We need play. We need moments of doing nothing at all. These are not luxuries. They are necessities for a healthy, functioning life. Marvin is starved of these necessities. But Marvin has a godson and a baby brother who are his batteries. They are his motivation to get up every day. Making a better life for them and his community is what he is working for. Living this way takes a huge emotional toll. Marvin often feels a profound sense of loneliness. He is surrounded by people, yet he feels disconnected. He is the giver, the doer, the problem solver. But who does he turn to when he needs to talk? Who understands the depth of his exhaustion? He keeps his struggles to himself. He doesn't want to burden others. He doesn't want to appear weak. So his emotions stay bottled up inside. This creates an echo chamber of his own anxieties and fears, with no voice of comfort or perspective to break through. Stress becomes a constant companion. It is a shadow that follows him everywhere. This is not the healthy stress that motivates us to achieve a goal. This is chronic stress, the kind that floods our bodies with cortisol day after day. This kind of stress is toxic. It weakens the immune system. It raises blood pressure. It contributes to anxiety and depression. Marvin feels it in his tense muscles, his frequent headaches, his racing heart. He knows this is not good for him, but he feels trapped, with no clear way to reduce the sources of his stress. A sense of hopelessness can start to creep in. When every day is a struggle, it is hard to see a brighter future. Marvin might start to wonder if things will ever change. Will he always feel this tired, this overwhelmed, this alone? This feeling is incredibly dangerous. Hope is what fuels us. It gives us the strength to persevere. When hope dims, the world can seem very dark. Marvin fights against this feeling. He tries to focus on his responsibilities, on the people who need him. But some days, the fight is harder than others. The joy in life becomes harder to find. He might also experience feelings of resentment or frustration. It is natural to feel this way when you are constantly giving and rarely receiving. He sees others with more balanced lives, with more support. He might wonder why his situation is so different. Why does so much fall on his shoulders? These feelings can be difficult to admit even to himself. They can make him feel guilty, but they are a normal human response to an unfair and unsustainable burden. His emotional well-being is eroding, slowly but surely, under the relentless pressure. Section 5. Fraying Connections. The social cost of solitude. Marvin's constant state of overwhelm affects his relationships. He has little time or energy left for friends. Invitations go unanswered or are declined. He simply cannot add another thing to his already overflowing plate. Over time, friends may stop reaching out, not because they don't care, but because they assume he is too busy or not interested. This gradual withdrawal leads to social isolation. The very connections that could offer support and relief begin to fray. This deepens his loneliness, creating a vicious cycle. Humans are social creatures. We need these bonds. Family relationships can also become strained. While Marvin dedicates himself to caring for his family, the stress and exhaustion can make him irritable or distant. He might not have the patience he once did. He might be physically present but emotionally absent. His mind still consumed by worries and to-do lists. Loved ones might feel this distance. They might not understand the extent of his burden. They might misinterpret his quietness or fatigue as a lack of love or interest. Clear communication is difficult when one is constantly running on empty. The lack of shared responsibility at home or in the community also contributes to this social cost. If Marvin is the only one consistently stepping up, it can create an imbalance. Others may become accustomed to him handling everything. They may not realize the toll it is taking. This is not always intentional. Sometimes, people are simply unaware, or they feel unequipped to help, but the result is the same. Marvin feels increasingly alone in his efforts, and the potential for shared experiences and mutual support diminishes. This undermines the strength of the family or community unit. His engagement with the wider community also suffers. Marvin might have once been involved in local groups, hobbies, or volunteer activities. These are things that bring joy, purpose, and connection. But now, there is no room for them. His world has shrunk to the immediate demands of work and essential care. This is a loss not only for Marvin, but also for the community. Every individual has unique talents and perspectives to offer. When people like Marvin are too burdened to participate, the community loses out on their contributions. Social capital, the network of relationships and shared values erodes. Section 6. Stuck in the system. When help is just out of reach. Marvin's struggles are not just personal. They are often made worse by systemic issues. He might need to access support services for himself or his family. This could be healthcare, social services, or financial aid. But navigating these systems can be a nightmare. He faces long waiting times. He encounters complicated bureaucracy. He fills out endless forms, only to be told he is missing a document or doesn't quite meet the criteria. These delays and hurdles add another layer of stress and frustration to his already burdened life. Help seems to be just out of reach. The systems designed to help often feel impersonal and inefficient. Marvin might feel like just a number, not a person with urgent needs. He tells his story again and again to different people, with little progress. This experience can be deeply demoralizing. It makes him feel powerless. He is trying his best to manage everything, but the system itself becomes an obstacle. It consumes precious time and energy that he doesn't have. Imagine trying to put out a fire, but the water hydrant is broken, and the emergency line keeps you on hold. That is how Marvin often feels. Workplace systems can also contribute to the problem. If the company culture does not promote work-life balance, or if workloads are consistently too high, employees like Marvin suffer. There might be a lack of adequate staffing. There might be pressure to always be available, even outside of work hours. These organizational failings place an unfair burden on individuals. Good leadership understands that people are not machines. They need rest. They need support. They need to feel valued. When these things are missing, the system is failing its people and ultimately itself. Furthermore, societal expectations can play a role. There are often unspoken rules about who should bear certain responsibilities. Marvin might feel trapped by these expectations, unable to ask for help without feeling like a failure. We need to challenge these outdated norms. Responsibility should be shared more equitably. Communities and workplaces should be designed to support individuals, not to break them. The systemic issues Marvin faces are not his fault. They are cracks in the foundation of our society and organizations, and these cracks need to be repaired. Section 7. The Invisible Man. Craving acknowledgement in a world that looks away. One of the heaviest parts of Marvin's burden is the lack of recognition. His work is crucial. His efforts are immense, yet they often go unnoticed. He is like the stagehand in a play, working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure the show goes on. The actors get the applause. The stagehand is invisible. Marvin doesn't seek fame or grand gestures. He simply craves acknowledgement. A simple thank you, a recognition of his hard work, an understanding of the load he carries. This basic human need for validation is often unmet. This lack of acknowledgement can make Marvin feel undervalued. It can make him question his worth. Am I doing enough? Does anyone care about what I do? These thoughts are corrosive. They eat away at his motivation and self-esteem. When our contributions are consistently overlooked, we start to feel like we don't matter. This is a terrible feeling for anyone. We all want to know that our efforts make a difference, that we are seen, that we are appreciated. For Marvin, this invisibility is a constant, silent ache. In the workplace, this lack of recognition can be particularly damaging. If only mistakes are pointed out and consistent good work is ignored, it creates a negative environment. People become demotivated. They may start to do the bare minimum. Why go the extra mile if no one notices or cares? True leaders understand the power of acknowledgement. They make an effort to see and appreciate the contributions of every team member. They create a culture where people feel valued. This is not just soft stuff. It is essential for performance, morale, and loyalty. Marvin works in a place where this is often missing. The same is true in families and communities. When one person consistently shoulders the responsibility without acknowledgement, it can breed resentment and burnout. Others may take their efforts for granted. It is important to consciously recognize and appreciate the contributions of those who care for us and keep things running smoothly. This acknowledgement does not need to be elaborate. It can be a sincere word of thanks, an offer to help, or simply taking the time to listen. For Marvin, and many like him, feeling seen and appreciated would be like a soothing balm on a weary soul. It would lighten the load, just a little. Section 8. Rebuilding the circle. The path to shared strength and fairness. How can we help Marvin? How can we change this story? It starts with fairness. We need to look at how responsibilities are distributed, both at home and at work. Is it fair? Is it sustainable? Often, the answer is no. We need to have open conversations about these imbalances. Marvin should not have to bear so much alone. Others need to step up and share the load. This is not about blame. It is about creating a more equitable system where everyone contributes their fair share. This creates a stronger circle for everyone. Shared responsibility is key. This means actively looking for ways to support those who are overburdened. In the family, this could mean creating a chore rota. It could mean other family members taking on more tasks. At work, it could mean better delegation, more resources, or flexible work arrangements. Managers need to be vigilant about workloads. Colleagues need to be supportive of each other. When we share responsibilities, we build trust. We build stronger teams. We create a culture where people look out for one another. This is the essence of a healthy community. Support systems are vital. Marvin needs people he can turn to. This could be trusted friends, family members, or support groups. Sometimes professional help from a counselor or therapist is needed. There is no shame in seeking help. It is a sign of strength. Organizations can also play a role by providing access to mental health resources and employee assistance programs. Creating safe spaces where people can talk about their struggles without fear of judgment is crucial. We need to build circles of safety around people like Marvin. It is also about empowering Marvin to ask for help. Often, those who are used to doing everything find it hard to ask. They may feel guilty or like they are failing. We need to change this perception. Asking for help is not a weakness. It is a sensible response to being overwhelmed. We need to make it easy and acceptable for people to voice their needs. And when they do ask for help, we need to respond with empathy and a genuine willingness to assist. This is how we begin to rebuild the circle of support around Marvin, making his load lighter and his spirit stronger. Section 9. Lighting the way forward. Advocacy, self-care, and hope. Advocacy is crucial for systemic change. Marvin's situation is not unique. Many people face similar struggles due to flawed systems. We need to speak up for them. We need to advocate for policies that promote work-life balance. We need to demand better social support services. This means contacting elected officials. It means supporting organizations that work for social justice. It means challenging unfair practices in our workplaces and communities. Each voice added to the chorus for change makes a difference. We can be advocates for the Marvins of the world. Self-care is not selfish. It is essential for survival and well-being. Marvin needs to prioritize his own needs, even in small ways. This could mean scheduling short breaks throughout the day. It could mean finding time for a hobby he enjoys, even if it's just for a few minutes. It could mean ensuring he gets enough sleep, eats nutritious food, and gets some exercise. These acts of self-care are investments in his health and resilience. It is like putting on your own oxygen mask first on an airplane. You cannot effectively care for others if you are depleted yourself. We must also challenge the culture of overwork and constant busyness. Society often glorifies people who sacrifice everything for work or others, but this is not healthy or sustainable. We need to promote a culture that values rest, well-being, and balance. This starts with our own attitudes and behaviors. We can choose to disconnect from work after hours. We can encourage colleagues to take their leave. We can celebrate achievements that are not just work-related. By shifting these cultural norms, we create a healthier environment for everyone. Finally, we must hold on to hope. Change is possible. Marvin's story does not have to end in burnout and despair. By fostering fairness, sharing responsibilities, building support systems, advocating for change, and prioritizing self-care, we can create a different reality. A reality where people feel supported, valued, and empowered. A reality where no one has to stand alone in a crowded world. Marvin's journey is a call to action for all of us. Let us work together to build a world where everyone can thrive, not just survive. Let us light the way forward.